Hello and welcome back to week 10 of the NFL DFS Slate Breakdown. I'm your host, Tyler Weeman, and come join us at LineStar. You can get up to 1 month free if you are new to any of our affiliates. We have a ton of them. Come check out if you are new to any of them. Download, put some money on there, get 1 month free. It is easy as that. Just please click this form and enter that after you're done, so we can get that month given to you as soon as we possibly can. Or you can just join us for $39.99 per month. Get you access to all we do, the props, the DFS. You get it all. Now let's dive in. We got a big slate to go over today. We got 10 games on both sites, and I do think it's going to be a fun one. Oh, I'm choppy. Bummer. Let me just make sure this thing is put in all the way. Man, check. Yeah, it looks like the internet's a little bit slow right now. I am plugged in, unfortunately, so there's not much I can do about it. I am getting a new router here shipped to me because I've been having these problems. Am I still choppy? Oh. All right. Well, let's dive in, though. We got position by position, and we are going to jump into it, starting with the quarterback spot. And I actually forgot, I generally go over the little overview of the slate. So let's jump into that. Team totals, highest games, 50.5 to Buffalo versus Miami. We got 49.5 for Detroit versus Washington, and for the Rams versus the 49ers. Those are the games that a lot of people are going to go to along with the Baltimore, Minnesota, New England, and Tampa Bay. All of those are 48.5 plus. Then you also have the Chicago and Giants game. There's a lot of games with a higher total. I do have to warn you about this Chicago and Giants game. It does look like it's going to be very, very windy. It's cold, potential for some rain out there as well. So we do need to keep an eye on weather there. There also could be some rain in Tampa Bay and in Miami. Now, let's dive in position by position, starting with the point guard or quarterback. Our high owned is Jackson Dart at 5,700. He's coming in at 19% owned. The whole reason for this high owned quarterback at 5,700 is pricing is tough this week. We don't have, that designated value, and price on the guys that have been really killing it all season is just high now. So with that, we're getting a value quarterback going high owned, 57.5 total. Jackson Dart has a super high floor and ceiling. He keeps getting it done with his legs, which just raises that floor so much and gives him a real solid ceiling. Versus poor defense in Chicago, I don't hate it. I do got to warn you with the weather, though. It does make me think there's a little bit of a chance of that game going under rather than over. But it is a very interesting game and one we need to keep our eyes on, as it will be a faster paced game as well. Josh Allen at 7K versus the Miami Dolphins is obviously interesting. This Miami Dolphins defense is awful, and Josh Allen is amazing. My issue is, we know, and you've heard me say this time and time again, is when Josh Allen doesn't have to rush, they don't rush him. It's a situation where most likely he's in the low mid-20s in a score, solid, but doesn't win you the week, doesn't win you a GPP, just gives you a very high floor to your lineup. And with that, I don't love my Josh Allen. Now, if there is a chance that Miami is scoring and this game goes real nuts, then I like Allen. So if I'm playing Allen, I'm also probably bringing a Miami piece with me, whether that's Achane, whether that's Waddle, or you want to get real nuts and go Dulcich for the Miami at tight end. He's only 2,600. He got 5 targets last week. He is a little bit interesting as well if you want to pay down there now. Next, we got Jared Goff, 5,900. Look, he is super cheap for the ceiling that he has. Look, we saw this last year. He had the 38, a 44, 28, 29, and you're getting him at 5,900. And then this year, he also had this 37-point game. Now, generally, these real high games do come at home. This one is away, but I still don't mind going here. We don't know what the Lions are going to do. They're coming off a tough loss versus Minnesota. They lost versus KC just a couple weeks ago. They are 5-3. They've underwhelmed a little bit this season. And I wouldn't be surprised if Dan Campbell and the Lions really want to go nuts in this game and put it to the Commanders and really drive up that score. If that's the case, Goff has a giant ceiling at 5,900. So I like Goff. I'm going to have some Goff where, Goff +2, Goff +3, and just see how the Lions are putting up their score. I'm not sure if it's going to be through the ground, through the air, but I am pretty sure the Lions will put up solid points, as they have almost every single week this year. I mean, 24 versus Minnesota, 24 versus Tampa Bay, 37, 34, 38, 52. This offense can get rolling, and if they're putting up 30 plus, there's likelihood that it's either Goff or one of the rushers that are getting a lot of those points. So I'm definitely interested in Goff. Now let's get into some pivots. If we want to go to that pay down option, I think JJ McCarthy is a little bit interesting. He's 4,900. Gives you a little bit of rushing upside, only 12 carries and a rushing touchdown last week versus Detroit, but they won the game. And then 25 rushing yards versus Atlanta, 25 and a touchdown versus Chicago. So he gives you that, 2 to 7 point extra upside. And he's versus Baltimore Ravens offense or defense that has got torched this year. While they've been good over the last couple, opponent rank is 11th on the season. They are 25th, allowing almost 260 yards and 1.8 passing touchdowns per game. And then you got, you have Justin Jefferson, you have Addison, you have a very good options there to go to. Or you can go to a good receiving back in Aaron Jones, who is a cheap running back option to get you different. So maybe Addison and Jones for a cheap stack, or Justin Jefferson and Jones with McCarthy. Now, let's get into some other here. We got Drake May at 6,400. Drake May has been one of the better quarterbacks this season. 3.5 star alert score. Tampa Bay plays a bend but don't break defense. They also don't let people rush against them. What then tends to happen is they're a pass funnel defense where guys pass against them more. That obviously bodes well for quarterback scoring, especially when you have a quarterback as good as Drake May. Versus the last 4, Tampa Bay is allowing almost 300 yards per game and 1.3 touchdowns. Drake May can absolutely go 302. Then he adds some rushing upside there, and it looks super, super interesting. They also have been scoring extremely well this season. 1, 2, 3, 4 games of 30 plus, one of them being 42. The upside is obviously there. The one thing with Drake May is it's not likely he's going 30 plus. It's, high 20s. You don't really get those 30 plus outings from him like you do from premiums like Lamar or Josh Allen. With that, let's get over to Lamar Jackson. Probably my favorite quarterback for this slate at 6,800. I actually do expect him to be pretty serious matchup, as this Minnesota defense can be tough. They disguise their coverages, try to do a lot of things, but we have a vet quarterback in Lamar Jackson here that is one of the best and can go absolutely nuts on any defense. So I'm really not that worried about this Minnesota offense when you have a quarterback like Lamar Jackson. I also think it's interesting because we have some cheap stacking partners we can go with him. I don't think you have to go Zay Flowers. I think you could go, say, Rashad Bateman and Mark Andrews, or Isaiah Likely, who are both very, very cheap. And the combination of their salary, you're looking at, 10K-ish, and you can get 40, 50 points. I would sign up for that all of the time. It puts you on a great pace to get 200 plus points and potentially win a slate. So Lamar Jackson, one of my favorite. Next, we got Baker Mayfield. Look, if New England is putting up points, it just means that Baker Mayfield has to put his team on his back and throw the ball. Like the Patriots, or like Tampa Bay, the Patriots are very hard to run against. So far on the year, or over the last 4, they've only let like 41 yards rushing a game. And so with that, Tampa Bay is going to have to throw the ball. New England is going to have to throw the ball. This game could be a little faster paced than what we're used to, with a little more upside. So I think it is interesting, and we have seen Baker be able to put his team on his back, throw for 400 yards or 350 and 5 touchdowns. Now his receiver core is pretty beat up here. It's still Emeka Ibuka, but at least he's a little healthier. And then, Tez Johnson, Kate Otten, he's going to have to piece some stuff together, but I don't mind Baker at a depressed 6.2K. Eddie, what's going on, my man? I am good. I hope you are good too. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. Now, that's it for quarterback-wise on DraftKings. On to FanDuel, our high-owned here, we got Goff, Dart, and Stafford. Stafford, I do think, is a little bit too expensive here. I am interested in him a little bit at 4,900. He went off against them earlier this year, putting up 29. And we've seen this year, they really have just been letting Stafford sling it. My issue is generally, this isn't a great matchup for Stafford. It was this year. This defense is more banged up. So I think there are paths to success here. And obviously, Puka is one of the best wide receivers in the league. But on FanDuel, you get Puka and you get Stafford, and you're struggling salary-wise. So that's my one aspect of why I don't love the Stafford stack. Also, it's most likely, it's either Adams or Puka that are going nuts, and you can get a lot of Stafford's production just through them. So I don't think Stafford is absolutely necessary to stack with. Now, let's get over to the running back room. And we got Devon, Achane, Dowdle, and Gibbs with the 3 highest owned. Achane, look, he's going to project well across the industry. He's in a good spot versus the Dolphins, or versus the Bills. Bills been a little bit of a run funnel defense, allowing 100 and plus yards a game, 1.3 touchdowns a game. But I don't see it as a ceiling type spot, and that is my worry. While Achane has been great, can get you 20 every single week, I think the chance of him going, had to have it type score is lower, and he's going super high owned. So I don't feel like I need to get there at 30% ownership. I'm fine if I come in more like 15% owned on him. I'm absolutely going to have some, but I'm not going to go real hard on him. Rico Dowdle, 6,300. I think he is an absolute smash spot, and I would be playing a ton of them. 5-star alert score. The Saints haven't been great versus the run. Meanwhile, Rico Dowdle has been the man when he's got it going and been the guy. He's going to be the guy here versus New Orleans. I think they're going to run the ball a ton, and the Saints play fast, so it just gives more to the Carolina Panthers, more plays, more potential for points. And so I love me some Rico. Jamar Gibbs, I love him. Most one of the most talented guys in the NFL. However, he has one game this season that we really need him for. So he's also in a meh spot. Washington's like average 17 in the league versus the RB. So I don't mind if I get some Gibbs. I may in some like super Detroit stacks, but I'm not going to go super hard on Gibbs. I just think there's not a ton of pass to his huge volume game. Now, I do think that they're going to rely on him a little bit more than they did last week, as last week Minnesota kind of schemed to try and get Gibbs out of the game. I don't think Washington is as skilled of a defense to be able to do that. So I'm fine with some Gibbs, but I'm not going overboard. Next, we got James Cook, 7,500. This man is having an unbelievable season, and I feel like not as many people are talking about it as there should be. 114 yards, one catch for 11 last week, no touchdowns, unfortunately. But he keeps doing it. His volume is giant. He has a great offensive line in front of him, and he's in a good spot. I'm fine with plenty of James Cook here. We know Buffalo is going to score. The points are either going to be through Cook or through Allen. That's how we know. We know how this offense goes. I'm fine with James Cook. The ceiling is giant. All right, let's get into the pivot action. Quinshon Judkins, 6,500, 3-star alert score. The one thing I have to say is he's against the Jets, who just sold off their two best defensive pieces. They already were allowing 116.5 yards per game and 0.8 touchdowns, and now there's no Quinnen Williams in the middle. So I think he makes a smash at 6,500. I think this is a week that it is more likely I'm going to be paying down at running back than paying up. I would prefer the higher priced receivers than the higher priced running backs this week. Essentially is how it goes. Christian McCaffrey is the one high priced running back that I will pay for this week. But 28 versus them early this season, 26 versus them in 2023. I just don't think there's that many ceiling outcomes for him in a team versus the Rams, who are extremely good versus the running back. They have yet to allow a rushing touchdown this season. So I like McCaffrey. I think the floor is huge. You're looking at 25 plus points, but I just don't think the ceiling is there in this game. I think it's more likely a 25 to 30 point game, not a 35 to 40. So let's get into some more likes, and I'm going to talk about your spot right here, TK. I have liked DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai. I like both of them. If Swift is out, I think I'm going to play a ton of Kyle Monangai. 5-star alert score. We saw last week that they're absolutely willing to just feed him the rock. 29 touches versus Cincinnati. Well, I don't expect a 47 to 42 game. I do expect Monangai to be heavily involved if Swift is out. And if Swift is out, then at 5,600, he's a borderline, lock button play for me. I'm not going to lock him. I never go 100% on pretty much anybody, but he would be one of my higher owned plays, and I love the spot. If Swift is in, I still like the spot for these running backs, and what they have said is they're going to go to the hot hand approach. I actually think Swift is better with limited touches. He has some explosiveness that we don't necessarily always see when he is getting, a huge workload. So I like either one of them. Whatever one of these backs gets hot, I think there's absolutely paths to them succeeding. And I do think this is a paid down week at running back. So I'm looking for these 5-6K guys to see what I can get. The spot is phenomenal. 121 yards per game on the season with 0.9 touchdowns. They're ranked 31st. I'm all in on the Bears rushing game. It seems like Ben Johnson has really got this going. Derrick Henry, 6,800. The man's too cheap. 4.5 star alert score versus Minnesota, who's allowing 103 yards a game. He had 19 carries for 119 yards last week, 21 and 2 touchdowns the week before. While his floor is real low because he's yardage and touchdown centered, this ceiling is giant. He can break these big plays, and I'm absolutely willing to hammer some Derrick Henry at 6,800. The price is just too low for the ceiling. And again, I mean, I'm essentially getting a high-priced running back at 6,800 because the Baltimore struggles early in the season. Kenneth Walker at 5,300. He has finally outsnapped Sharps a little bit. Last week, he played 57% while Sharps was at 35%. Most games this season, Sharps has outsnapped him. Now, it also comes after the bye, so I do think it's a little significant. We got a 3.5-star alert score. Now, Arizona has been tough versus the run, but it's only a matter of time until we see a big Kenneth Walker game. Now, I don't know when it's going to come, but it's going to come. And at 5,300 on a week where pricing is very tough, I'm willing to try and go for this upside, get a 25 out of him, and just go with it. I think Sharps is losing some of his luster in that organization, and with this offense and Sam Darnold really clicking, it could open some more pathways for this running game. So I'm interested in him. 5,600, Travion Henderson. It's him again. He played 75% of the snaps last week. Now, as far as rushing, this spot is awful for him, but he's an excellent receiving back, and Tampa Bay has got crushed in that area. So I do think it's interesting to go Travion and Drake May. I think stacking them together will get you a little different, and it gives you some upside from both of them. As Henderson, as we have seen, he can bust a big play, and you get that on a pass, and you're really cooking there. Aaron Jones at 5,200. He is too cheap for the role that he was playing last week prior to him getting hurt. 9 carries, 78 yards, 2 receptions, 420. And before he got hurt, he was playing a ton. They expect him to go. He said his shoulder feels good, and with that, I don't mind getting to some Aaron Jones. Now, because he got hurt, maybe they don't give him the huge workload he was starting to get. Maybe it's more of a 60-40 split, but I'm fine with that. With Aaron Jones' explosiveness and how he can be used all over, I think it's a very interesting way to go. I don't mind some Aaron Jones. Over on running back on FanDuel, high owned, we got Henderson, Rico, and Gibbs. I'm all on board on Henderson and Rico. Judkins is also right up there. I like him. My only thing with Judkins is he's getting a little expensive on FanDuel at 7,600 when you're talking about Gibbs being, 8,800, Achane 8,500. So that's my only issue. But I love Judkins. I love this spot. The Jets defense is going to just be absolutely awful. Now, I don't know how much this Cleveland Browns offense can really make them pay, but there is that path which it could possibly happen. Now, let's get over to the wide receiver on DraftKings. Zay Flowers, 30% owned. JSN, near that, and Amon-Ra St. Brown coming in at their 3 highest owned. Now, Zay Flowers, 3-star alert score. The Minnesota D has given it up lately through the air. I'm fine with some Zay, but I don't feel like you need to pay for him. And it's not like Lamar Jackson goes absolutely nuts every time Zay Flowers does. So I don't feel like you have to stack them. When Lamar goes nuts, he generally spreads the field a little bit. He spreads the ball. So it absolutely makes sense to fade Zay, fade his ownership. You can still play a higher owned Lamar Jackson, which I think he ends up being higher owned. And then you can just pay down with Mark Andrews or Likely or a Bateman and stack that way. I think that's my preferred way to do it. I'm not saying I won't play Zay, but he doesn't have many 30-point games. He had one last season, had one this year. He may not get another of them. So that is my thing. If he's not putting up 20 plus points, he's kind of killing your roster. He's killing your stack. So I don't feel like I have to go there at high ownership. JSN 8,600, man, has been the most consistent wide receiver in the game. Him and Puka have been absolutely amazing, and I'm fine to go there. I'm not going to fight that one. If you want to pivot off that, I do think you can go to Rashid Shaheed. If you remember, Kubiak was with the Saints last year, so this offense is something that Shaheed is already used to. So I think him coming over, he's going to be able to pick up from day one and run with it. Just take him, a little bit to memorize everything once again, but it's the same offense. So I think you can go to Rashid if you want to fade JSN, but JSN is a tough fade. It's just a very, very hard slate to be paying up for too many guys. Now, JSN, Amon-Ra, Puka, those are the guys I would pay up on this slate. Amon-Ra's in a great spot. We already covered Detroit, and it's really the same here. Is they're going to put up points. It's just how. 5-star alert score. The one issue with Amon-Ra, he needs the volume to really get there. And I don't think they're going to struggle against Washington. So there's just way more variance in where these targets go, because he's going to have to do it on 8 to 10 targets, not 11, 13 targets. So I like him, but I do worry about the pace, and I think Washington will have to be able to score a little bit for them to really keep passing and continually targeting Amon-Ra. Darius Slayton at 4,300, I get it. He is, one of the only wide receivers out there, but he is the deep guy, and if the wind is really going, there's less likelihood of deep balls. Marvin Harrison, he got it going last week. He definitely could be better with Jacoby. I don't hate going there versus Seattle, but I also don't love it. I think this game is going to be a little bit of a tough one, Arizona versus Seattle. I do think Seattle wins it, but I think it's going to be close late, so maybe Arizona does have to keep throwing throughout the day. Demario Douglas coming in high owned at 4K, and I think there are pass. My issue is he's getting high owned because Kayshon Boutte is out. Now, he also came up with a big play, 4 receptions for 100 yards and a touchdown last week, but he's barely playing. And with Boutte getting hurt, he still didn't, his snap counts didn't go up. Kyle Williams' snaps went up. So I think if you're going to try and play a Patriots that's cheap and you want the upside, while I know Demario Douglas is going to get some targets when he's out there, he's going to get 1 to 4 targets, something like that. I'm not going to chase high owned Demario Douglas. I would rather go to try Kyle Williams and go that route, because last week with Boutte getting hurt, he only played 26% of the snaps. Kyle Williams jumped up to 46%. So Kyle Williams, and he hasn't played more than 29% the entire season. Most weeks it's around 20%. So he was the one that had the big jump up in snaps. Everybody thought he was the guy coming into the season that was going to be able to start from day one and be a productive wide receiver. He is now getting his chance, and I think I would rather go down to Kyle Williams at 3K than go to Demario Douglas. Now let's get to the pivots. Puka, I don't even need to talk about him. Man's too good. He gets it done versus San Francisco week in and week out. He gets it done in general week in and week out. The man puts up 94 yards playing half. Jalen Waddle, 6,400. It is likely that Miami Dolphins are going to have to throw, and since Tyreek got hurt, he's been good. 26, 16, 21, 14. This 21 would have been 26 had he got one more yard too. So, or 25. I think Jalen Waddle is absolutely fine to go at 6,400. There's enough upside. The Bills are giving up 173 yards a game to the wide receiver. Rashad Bateman, I covered. I love stacking him with Lamar this week. We have to figure out how we can pay down this week, and Bateman is one of those ways, as well as Likely or Anders. Jalen Coker at 3,300. Look, he hasn't done anything this year. I mean, he's had, 6 targets in his 3 games. So you don't love that. But Tet McMillan is now on the injury report. He is questionable. If Tet is out, Coker is going to get some volume, and he's 3,300. It's the only reason I'm putting him out there. And then we talked about Rashid Shaheed already. If you remember last year, he had 2 big games, with Gary Kubiak and the Saints prior to the whole Saints offense getting hurt. I think Shaheed was a steal for this Seahawks team. Kubiak's totally fine airing it out and going deep, and Shaheed just has speed, unlike very many people in the league. So I think 5,200 Rashid Shaheed with his ceiling is extremely interesting. On to wide receiver on FanDuel. High owned, we got Flowers, Abuka, JSN, and Parker Washington. Mecca Abuka at 7,800, we did not talk about. Now, my one issue is Patriots have been very tough versus wide receiver. And if we look at the team defense tool, they are 25th versus wide receiver 1 over the last 4 games. So there's paths, but as a whole, they're only allowing 133 yards a game, 1.1 touchdowns. I'm fine with some Abuka. I just do worry about his matchup with Christian Gonzalez. He is a solid young corner. May not get the separation that he needs to really make it happen, but we've seen some very big games. So I don't absolutely hate it. I just don't love the play going to Abuka. Parker Washington, 5,600. Hey, there's no Brian Thomas. Jacoby Myers has been with the team for 3 days. Parker Washington could easily get 10, 12 targets here. We know he has a rapport with Trevor Lawrence, so it makes some sense. The one issue here is that this Houston defense is incredible, and so I don't love attacking Houston. All right, let's get over to tight end before we can round this out. So no surprise, Trey McBride, 6K, is your highest owned tight end. The man has been good all season long, and with Jacoby, he keeps getting to the end zone. So you got to love that. He has 4 touchdowns in 3 weeks with Jacoby. I don't hate that. I'm fine chasing it. Seattle has been poor versus the tight end for years now. I'm fine to go back to that well. Cade Otton, 3,900. Look at this volume that he's been having recently. 5 targets, 6, 8, 5. Has had 40 yards in every single game. You can absolutely go underneath to the tight end versus New England. He just gets in the end zone, and on one of these, 6, 8 target games, and you're cooking at 3,900. So I like it very much. Fine with Dalton Kincaid at 4,300. I mean, 2 20-plus games from tight end at 4K is solid. You could do worse. I mean, I think this is a slate. You can go double tight end if you want and pay down and get your value that way. Sam Laporta, we talked about the Lions, and we know they're going to score points. We just don't know which way. We don't know if it's going to be rushing. We don't know if it's going to be passing, but Laporta is one that is interesting. David Njoku, if Fannin is out, he gets all the tight end targets and huge ceiling at 3,200 versus poor Jets D. George Kittle is down to 4,500. It is absolutely an insane price for somebody of his ability. Now, it's a great defense he's going against, but hard to not want some George Kittle at that price. And then I already talked about Mark Andrews and Likely. I think both are very smart ways to build this week with your Lamar Jackson stacks, because it'll, you're getting the value from it. You're paying down. You're getting the upside with Lamar. I love going that way. Probably going to have most of my Lamar stacks with one of them. On the tight end in FanDuel, we got McBride, Laporta, Kittle. We talked about them all. Let's move on over to defense. Our high owned. We got Rams. We got Seahawks and Panthers. I love the Panthers D this week. Rams not so much. Seahawks, Jacksonville without tight wide receivers, extremely interesting, especially at 3,100. Browns versus this Jets team that doesn't have a defense anymore. I think it's a very interesting way to build. Now, I would be in on the Browns D at this price. 2,900 is too cheap. Jaguars versus Houston. Jags D has been sneaky good. Houston can allow a ton of sacks, and they got 2 sacks, 2 interception, and a fumble versus them in week 3 for 12 points. I wouldn't be that surprised they put up a similar outing to that this week, even though it is in Houston. I do prefer the home team generally than the away, but I think it's an interesting way to build. And that's about it. No other one that I really feel like I have to get to. So that's going to do it for us today, guys. 37 minutes going over the entire slate for FanDuel and DraftKings. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Hope you make some money tomorrow. And please come join us at LineStar. $39.99 per month gets you access to all we do. Please also give this video a like, comment, subscribe to our channel, do all that stuff. It goes a long way. I appreciate you guys, and we will